With that in mind, here's how you can still affect your grade. So we have one retake available. As a rough estimate, again, don't come to me like next week when your grade isn't where you thought it would be. Wait a minute, you said this. It's a rough estimate. That means it may not work out this way for you, but it's a guideline that you can use to figure out how much you want to study. If you go up by 10% on that retake, 'cause that's the only retake left now. If you go up by 10%, unless I've said like if you had unusual circumstances where you were out like for a week in the hospital or something like that, and I've extended your deadline, there might be one or two people that are in that situation. I don't really remember. 10% increase on one quiz grade is about a 1% increase on your overall percentage, which is why I wanted you to look at your percentage. So specifically as an example, let's say you had a 40 on the original quiz, the 3D quiz, 3D surface area volume, and you retake it and you go to an 80. So that's 40 to 50 is 10%. So there's 1 point to your grade. Then 50 to 60, there's another point. 60 to 70, there's another point. And then 70 to 80, which is what you got. So that'd be a 4-point increase because you went up 40%. Divide that by 10, you get 4. So you can still go up quite a few points if you had a really low grade on them. Now, if you already had a 90 or 100 or even maybe an 80, you can't go up as much. You can only get to 100. So determining how much you study is kind of based on what you got on the original quiz. Now, let's say, because some of you, and I don't remember in this class, if there's this many in this class, some of you still have a Z for that quiz. There's one or two of you, I believe, if I remember correctly. That's a 0. So that's a 0 or a Z, same grade. You can actually go up even more because that's like going up 10% right there, all by itself. If you have a 0 and you go up 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 100, that's 10 points towards your grade. But again, that's if you have a Z, which is a missing grade, which counts as a 0. On top, so that would be 4% we said there. On top of that, though, I also put in a final assessment grade that is just like my grade. How well did they learn this quarter? That helps some of the people that maybe I feel like were getting it in class, but then struggled on a quiz. So sometimes you'll go up a percent or two over what you ended with just purely based on the quiz or exit tickets, all that. It can also help somebody that missed a lot of classes. And when they missed classes, they still came in and they did the quizzes and everything. But because they missed so many lessons, it was really difficult for them to learn all that stuff on their own. It can help those people. The people that it does not help are these people right here. If you missed a quiz and you never came in to take it, or if you got a 0 on the quiz, which is rare, but some people do get a 0 every once in a while, and then you never came in to retake it, I change all of those grades to a 40% because a 0 pretty much kills your grade. So I'll change it to a 40 because the assumption is if you would have come in and done the quiz or the retake, you should never get below a 40. I mean, you got to do pretty much nothing on a quiz to get below a 40. Get a 0. So I assume if you put any time at all into it and you came in and you did that, you'd get a 40. I will not change those people's grade at the end of the quarter. If you like are 1 point away, don't even think about asking me because I already gave you 40 points in going from the 0 to the 40. That's why you're only 1 point away. I already gave you 40. So don't try to get any extra points over and above that. So if you go through, I'll put in the comments like the little dot, like I think it looks something like this in focus. It has a little circle or something around it. You hover on that. That means you have a comment from me. you've never seen that. Sometimes they're exclamation points, which those actually can help you a little bit. I'm not going to worry about talking about those. That's just something for me. But if you go to those comments and it says did not take quiz or had 0 on original quiz, did not retake, you're not getting any more points. You need to earn any points you get by taking the last retake. Let's see what else. So you could theoretically, depending on where you're at, still go up 10 or 12% if you have like a 0 on this. You don't have a 0, but it's still relatively low. You could still go up 4 to 6%. If you have a high grade on that one, that's the only one left, then you might be able to go up 2 or 3, maybe 4% if for some reason, like I said, you were out for a little while and I feel like you knew the material a lot better than your quizzes showed. So tutoring today will be on that one quiz, just the 2 shapes. That's all we're going to do. There's only 2 shapes on that. There's a cylinder and there's a rectangular prism. That's this and this. We're going to do both of these again today. We've done them many times before in the Excel jam. I can't make it any more. I mean, I could make it more difficult, but I don't make it any more difficult than what we do today. There's no reason why you shouldn't get a 100 on that quiz. Like, it's the same problem. This is what we're going to do today. Just be different numbers. Some of you, I think, stop practicing if you practice. Some of you don't. That's one of the big problems. But some of you stop practicing too early. You need to keep practicing until it is ingrained, not just when you get the first one right and then you think you got it. Like, you need to keep going past that point until you can do it with your eyes closed and one hand behind your back and in your sleep. Because you know you're going to forget a little bit by the time you come in and retake it. Phone should be up. Now, we're not doing phones anymore. So you need to practice beyond, if you really want to try to affect your grade, you need to practice beyond that point of, oh, I just now am getting it. You need to keep going. So that would be like tonight when you leave, because we'll only do like 2 or 3 problems in the 30 minutes that we're working on it. The last scenario for a few people is if you, for whatever reason, just don't pass either quarter. I don't get how you could not pass this class, you guys. It's not that bad. It's not easy to get an A or a B in it. If you were doing these things that I've told you over and over again to do, you'd pass this class or probably get a C or a B. I can't make you practice. Some of you are just never going to practice. It's not a matter of whether or not you get it. It's just a matter of you not putting enough time into it. I've got, like I said, I got kids that really struggle. They come in and they put the time in and they get their grade up. You just will. But then I got kids that, some of which don't even struggle as much. Some of them aren't even that bad at math, but they don't put any time at all into it. And they don't pass the class. So it is majority effort learned. Have to put the effort in. Just because something gets hard doesn't mean you give up, and it means you need to work harder. All right. But just for those people, I just want to let you know, even if you fail both quarters, if you get a C on the midterm, you pass the class. All you need is a C on the midterm or a C on the final next semester. The midterm is 4 multiple choice answers. There's no plug in an answer, calculate and plug it in like the modules. So you got a really good chance of getting a C on that. 40% was a C last year. And it's a multiple choice test, 4 answers. So theoretically, you should get a 25% if you don't even read the question. You just guess at the answer. So all you got to do is learn like 15% of the material, and you could pass this class through that, take a midterm. I'm not telling you to do that because you may not pass it still, but I had probably 20 kids first semester and then again second semester. They failed both quarters, but they passed the class because they got a C. All right, if you want to get your computer out, you can. You don't have to. It's not required at all. It's not even really going to help you. We're going to do the 2 shapes. So I got to invite you. How do I invite you? I may have to start. Let me start over. All right, so that's one of them. Surface area for cylinders. Those are, if you didn't hear me say it, or if I didn't say it, those are the three codes for this retake. So after class, you can take a picture or you can just write them down now. I'm only going to use two of them. We're just going to go ahead and do surface area and volume, even if the problem doesn't say to do both. If is anybody even getting their computer out? Does anybody have their computer and they're going to use their computer? All right, then I'm not even going to invite you. I'll just put the problem up here. Oh, actually, I think I have to invite you, even if you're not using it. All right, so this is your first problem. You need a reference sheet because that's got your surface area and volume formulas. And you need a calculator because you'll have to do the math. And then there was a process we went through, which I'll remind you of, but I want you to try to do it on your own first. What shape is that? Cylinder. So find the cylinder section. It's the same section as prism, so they use the same formulas. So you'll be using the same surface area formula and volume formula for both shapes. Yeah, that is a 5. If you can't see it right there. So you do surface area and volume, even though it doesn't ask for volume. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in even more. There. Soccer tryouts for the females is next Wednesday and Thursday at 2:30. So if you're interested in that, next Wednesday and Thursday. Where is my screen? Oh, I guess there's a, oh, it's an away game for football. No, no. So if you're totally lost, I'm gonna get you started in a second. Oh wow, it's not. Oh. Again, if you look at the prism cylinder section, though, that's where your surface area and volume formulas are. That'd be something that would take that stuff off. I know it'll take it off. If you write over it with dry erase marker, then you wipe it down and come on. Yeah. Yeah, it takes like do this though, like I think this is the weirdest thing, but is there a black dry erase marker over there? Big black one? This? No, a marker, an actual marker. Oh, a marker. I had a black dry erase marker I was writing with earlier. So here's the formulas you should have found on your own. Again, you're waiting until I do it. You're going to struggle on the quiz if you're not able to do this on your own. Because we've done it already together. Clearly, if you just sat there and copied, it didn't sink in. Got it. Try to figure it out on your own. Want to do well with stuff. We also said the first part of the process, and a lot of you are not following a process when I give it to you. So if you sit there and struggle and you're not doing the things that I'm asking of you, tells me you're not paying attention. We did that right there. B equals P equals for 3 days straight. We did that. So you have notes. I know we had a week and a half off, but you have notes. I hope you have your notes. You should be looking in your notes to see what we did. Oh, what did I do with that? Tough. Oh, there's. So normally. Saying that you were the person to go to about something. I don't know what it was. I know, right?
I know.
What was it? Yeah, hurricane showers.
I do.
That was what it was about. I was talking actually hurricane showers. After this one, I've never ever really talked about getting hurricane showers, but I've talked about the fact that I should board, like, create the boards and stuff. But I used to think I might move from my house and just rent it out. I was like, but I don't. First of all, I don't think I'm ever moving. But even if I was going to move, because I was worried about hurting the resale value. Like, I don't know that they help your resale value.
They do, definitely, because you get off on your insurance too.
Well, it helps on the insurance. I know that, but like, the house behind me has them, and I don't know that everybody's going to like the way it looks. So I would worry.
Depends on if they're attached, permanently attached or not.
There's a permit.
Do they have, are they Bahamas?
I doubt it on that. And they don't look.
Slatted and they kind of go up like this and then they go down. They're like.
I haven't looked at them close. I've just looked at them I see their guides on the left and the right, and then there's a little like awning looking thing above it. And I don't know if the hurricane shelter's in there and you patch it, and I don't know exactly how they work. But they don't look horrible, but they also at the same time, you see the guides or whatever on all the windows, and I could see how some people would not be wild about it. All right, so here's your 3 questions. You answer in this process. If you want to keep working, if you think you're good, keep going. But if you're struggling, you have to answer these 3 questions, and they're all tied together. Well, really, the 2 and 3 are tied into one. First question is, what is the shape of the base? So, to review, a base means you have 2 opposite sides that are the same exact shape. It's kind of the definition of a base for these 2 shapes. If it's sitting like this, what is my base? What's the shape of my base? Still a circle. It doesn't matter if it's tilted sideways. That's the 2 opposite sides. That's normally you guys would get it immediately, but as soon as I turn it sideways, then people get confused. I didn't change. If this is the base when it's sitting like this, it's still the base when I turn it sideways. Nothing changes. So the circles are the base. This is actually the height. Even if it's sideways, that's still the height. Because you got to imagine it would be sitting like that if it was on a base. That is not all we need, though. They're not going to give you what is the area, and that capital B means the area of the base. So you got to remember that. It's the area of one of the bases. So the first question is, what is the shape of the base? So you answer that. In this case, it's a circle. We'll do a rectangular prism in a minute. It won't be a circle. Now, the second question is, what is the formula? So these 3 are over there if you want to take a picture of them later, if you're not getting them when I write them down. What is the formula for the area of that shape? Whatever you answered in number 1. So we get the formulas for circles. So you can get that on your reference sheet. So if you look at your reference sheet under circles, one of those formulas is the area formula of a circle. Which one is that? What's the formula for the area of a circle?
Pi r squared.
It's the one with a capital A. Hopefully that makes sense. The capital A would stand for area. So the base shape is a circle. The formula for the area of a circle is this. And then we need to know what is the formula for perimeter. So we're solving for these 2. That's why I'm asking question 2 and 3, because that's what we're going to use for the capital B and the capital P. So what's the formula for the for the perimeter of a circle? Christiana. You have this on your reference sheet. You have circle formulas on your reference sheet. So look at your reference sheet. Problem is there's not a capital P in that section. So what would you use, do you think? Well, we want the perimeter of the base, not the area this time for question 3. Yeah, the only other formula. If you know the area for, or the formula for area is that one, there's only one other formula for circle. That is the length of this outer edge. That is perimeter. Reason we call it circumference is perimeter implies that you're adding sides together, we said. Well, there's no sides to add together, but it's still the length of this outer edge, just like the perimeter of a triangle is the length of all of the sides, which is the outer edge of a triangle. So it's the same thing. Circumference and perimeter are same thing when it comes to sort of what they mean conceptually. It's just one has a different way of calculating it. So you have two formulas. You could do pi times d, or you could do 2 times pi times r. They're the same formula. Because 2 times r, which we would also normally do. What did they give us in that problem? They gave us the radius, right? Radius is from the center of the circle out to the edge. So if that's from the center to the edge, that's the radius. How do I find the diameter? Do what? We could, but well, what's the answer? Just tell me the answer. I think somebody said 10. So you could either say 5 times 2 or 5 plus 5 works either way. But here's the, I mean, if you ever get confused, the diameter can never be smaller than the radius. Like, there's no way. Diameter is always all the way across. Radius is halfway. So diameter can never be smaller than radius. I would stall for both of those as well in the beginning when you're dealing with a circle as the base. Because a lot of times kids don't think about what they've been given and they just use the number and they just get into plugging numbers in and they use the wrong number. But if you think about like which number is which and you solve for the other one, it makes you, go through that process and now you should hopefully use the correct numbers. So I'm going to use this formula for capital B. I'm going to use this, well, either of these two formulas for the capital P. Oh, r squared, the base is a circle. That's the formula for area of a base. Pi times 5 squared. Make sure you square the 5 first. Some kids on the original quiz, they said 5 times pi, got an answer, and then they squared that number. That will not give you the correct answer. You have to do order of operations, which means exponent first, 5 squared. So that'd be 25 times pi. I think it comes out to be like around 78 or something like that. Yeah, so 78. So I would not round it to 78 if I were you. I'd keep more decimals behind it. I'm just doing that for memory. I didn't remember the rest of it. I'm going to use the 2 pi r since they gave me r in the problem. So that would be 2 times pi and then times 5 is the radius. So that would be 31.4, 10 times pi. And that would be my perimeter value. Really, it's circumference, but it's the same thing as perimeter when we deal with circles. Now I just plug those in up here. So if I want surface area, we'll change colors. So surface area, 2, that's just part of the formula. We got the area of the base. What was the exact number? 78 point what? 5 plus 31.4. And then remember, this is the height. So a lot of kids are bringing that number in too early, especially on the other figure that we're going to do, the rectangular prism. That is the height, though. So we only use it when we're multiplying times the h. Times 10. Somebody do that real quick. Is it 314?
Yeah.
We had that same problem earlier. So that is surface area. No, is that not the right answer? Oh, wait, no, it's not. 314, yeah. That was just the second part. What's the overall answer? 314 plus that. Or what? 479-ish, something like that. 471. I can't hear it. And then volume again, we've already done the capital B, so 78.5 times 10 is the height, so that's pretty easy. 785 to be your volume. There's no rule, I've said it before, but there's no rule that says volume is always bigger than surface area or surface area is always bigger than volume. Just depends on the shape. So don't like think that because surface area is bigger in one problem than volume, that it's going to always be that way. You might, in the very next problem, it might be the other way around. All right, any questions on that? So that's your process. This shape, the rectangular prism, both of them follow the same process. It's just if it's a rectangular prism, this changes over here. The base won't be a circle. So that means these formulas won't be the same because these are for circles. So you'll have to change the answer to your three questions. You still ask the same three questions, you'll just get different answers. And then when you get those, you just follow the same steps we went through over there. All right, so I'm going to go to the next one. Yeah, let's go ahead. You guys you got to practice this on your own. We're not going to do a ton of problems. We won't get through many. So you need to, at home, do more of these. All right, here you go. So go ahead, do that one. Do surface area and volume, but follow that same process. I'm letting you do this one all on your own, and then I'm just going to go through basically give you the answers. I don't care. I mean, I don't care if you work together on it, but I'm just saying I'm not going to work this one out at all. Pretty much just tell you the answer to each piece. If you can't see that number, the top number is a 2. I got to do attendance actually. So I'm going to do attendance while you're working on this one. Oh, that's actually already in it. Ah! So one of the kilos. Carter's here, Samuel's here, Sophie's here, Dane's here. Let's see. Lucas, Christiana, Kevin, Gina, Never here. Coretta's not here. All right. All right, so I'm just going to kind of start working it out. If you're making progress, keep going. You can kind of look up here and check your answer mainly for the capital B and the capital P. You can get that part figured out. You should be in pretty good shape. Oh, and don't skip steps. Write this formula every time. A lot of kids mess up just because they don't write this on their paper, and then the process of going back and forth and solving, they make mistakes. Does not take any time to go ahead and write the formulas down with no numbers or anything in onto your paper before you start trying to solve. I would even answer all the questions on my paper if I were you, if you're struggling. Who am I going to call on? Actually, we'll just call on Michaela. What's the shape for my base, Michaela? Still a circle, right? It's the same thing we just did. Still a circle, which means the area formula is still the same, which means the perimeter, which is really circumference, is still the same as well. The same answers that we had before. Same shape, we should have the same answers. And there's only two shapes, so shouldn't have any issues figuring out those two. Just know on the midterm, you're going to get other shapes, which we may or may not get to. You have to make the adjustments. You ask the same three questions, but you have to memorize formulas for rectangle. You have to memorize formulas for triangles. Circles, you can go to your reference sheet for that. So that would be pi r squared. I hate it when it's a 2 because it comes out to be the same stuff. 12.57, is that what you got? 12.57 should have been your area of your base, your capital B. It would have been 4, so 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 3.14 should be if you use the pi button, what then? That 4, because you rounded up to a 7. Round up. No. I'm not worried about your round. Not for me. You need to understand how to round, but we'll probably do a crash course in rounding like right before the midterm. Well, actually, midterm it won't matter if it's all multiple choice. Right before the EOC, I'll just remind you so it's fresh in your brains for the EOC. For me, though, yeah, I would like you to do at least 1 digit behind the decimal. As long as you got at least 1 digit behind the decimal, that's fine for me. So this is why I don't like them giving me a radius of 2 because you get the same answer. So you get the same number actually for the capital B and the P. So if you plug those in, surface area equals 2 times 12.57 plus 12.57. And then what's the height? 6. Yeah, height basically connects the two bases. No matter how it's laying, if you just think of that height for a cylinder or a prism, the height is the line or the side that connects the two bases. So 6. What'd you get for the final to that? 100.52. Again, I'm not super concerned. Just show all of your work. Volume then is just 12.57 times 6, which is what? 12.57 times 6. Somewhere around there. 75 point something. Somewhere around 75. All right, so now let's do. We got to rush through this one. Wow, got less time in this class. So I'm going to show you a rectangular prism. Do the same exact process. The only thing that changes is your answers over here. All of that is the exact same process. You're just going to have different shape for the base. And if you have a different shape for the base, then you're going to have different formulas for the area of the base and the perimeter of the base. Hold on. I got to get rid of the circle stuff. Let's see. No, it's going to do that. So get rid of that. And now do that. All right, so it should give you, or give us. There we go. Perfect. Yeah, that'll work. So there you go. That's the other kind of problem. Follow the same process. Answer your 3 questions will be different answers. So I'll get rid of that. But you'd still go through that part of the process. It has these same exact formulas. Prism and cylinder, same formulas. Even if it's a triangular prism, it would still have the same formulas. So you get one of those on a bedroom. But always want to do these first. Some of you are not doing this part right here, and it's killing you. Because that, first of all, is one of the parts that gets you some points. Second of all, if you keep it nice and organized, you normally help you out in the way. All right, so what is the shape of the base? The rectangle, right? All of them are, every side is a rectangle, so the shape would have to be a rectangle. There's no other shape in that whole figure. So we know the base is a rectangle. I would consider the base to be the side that we didn't see, and then this top side, the light purple. But really, you could say any two opposite sides of this are the bases when it comes to a rectangle. So here's what you got to memorize. A lot of you haven't memorized. What is the formula for the area of a rectangle? That's the shape we're looking for, area of a rectangle. It's not on your reference sheet. Somebody already said it, so I heard it. You have to memorize that. Say it again. Length times width. That is not on your sheet. You've got to memorize that. What do we do to find the perimeter for a rectangle? There is a formula, but if you just you add the sides of the rectangle up. How many sides does a rectangle have? Then you shouldn't be adding more than 4 numbers. A lot of people added like every side of the whole object. A lot of people use this 6 to do this. The 6 is not part of the base. That's the height. The base is just these 2 numbers. And then what's true in a rectangle? If I have a 10 and a 7 there, what else do I have? I got a 10 and a 7 on the other sides. That 6 is not part of the base. Do not use the height when it comes to this first part of the process. So the base would be length times width. So what numbers am I using for length times width? 7. Yeah, not the 6. These are my length and my width. 7 times 10. For perimeter, what do I add? 7. And 20. So those are my capital B, my capital P. Now you just plug them in just like we did in the other one. If somebody gets done, we'll share answers real quick. I'm not going to worry about doing it because it's the same thing we just did twice. So when you get an answer, do you have final answers? Yeah. What's surface area? It's 344. So if you get a different answer, let us know. 420? Yeah. So we think 344 and 420. If you get something different, we know and we can check on that. So those are the only 2 shapes on that retake. Everybody should get a 100 on that. You can practice these a million times. I can't, I mean, I could make it hard.